For the last year, people in Poland say they've been in a state of war. They say they're at war with the military powers who took over the government a year ago. Under martial law, the police, the army and the riot police, the ZOMOs, can stop, question, search, arrest, hold without charge, without trial, indefinitely, any Polish citizen. They can also beat and club demonstrators at will. But the tactics no longer work. Opposed by solidarity in the underground, all martial law has produced is a bitter nation wedded to passive resistance.
In an attempt to break this deadlock, the Sejm, the Polish parliament, met this morning to discuss suspending martial law. General Jaruzelski, the military leader, knows that the last year of his government has been a failure. He hopes that by hinting at civilian rule, the trade union leaders in the underground will no longer have such a clear cause to fight for.
Last month, in another maneuver, the general released Solidarity leader Lech Wałęsa. It was partly a gesture to the West, angry about the military takeover last year, but it was also designed to neutralize Wałęsa. Now plain citizen Wałęsa, he's watched by the authorities who hope he no longer presents a threat. He's been isolated from his lieutenants in hiding. On the day General Jaruzelski claims to be restoring order, we look at the resistance he still faces throughout Poland. Wałęsa may be free, but some of Solidarity's best men are here in Białolenka prison outside Warsaw. These are the internees, the trade union leaders arrested on the night of the military coup and held without trial ever since. In addition to 300 men still interned, a further 3,600 are imprisoned for offences against martial law this year. Until there's a general amnesty, the underground leaders say they won't come out into the open. This man, Krzysztof Wyszkowski, a close associate of Wałęsa, was an internee. He escaped and is now in hiding in the underground. He's one of the editors of the main national underground newspaper.
I'm involved in getting articles for underground publication and in collecting information and evaluating it. I contribute directly to War Weekly and Voice Monthly. Underground publication is no easy business because it's illegal from beginning to end. Most at risk are those who print and distribute the publications. If you're caught, the sentences are very stiff. In Gdansk, people got 6 years in jail just for distributing underground publications.
Keeping alive the message of solidarity by clandestine newspapers is by far the most important work of the underground. This is edition number 42 of War Weekly, the largest paper.
Circulation varies. War Weekly prints on average about 7,000 copies, though on occasions it has exceeded 10,000. Whole books are printed. History, social analysis, literature. This is going on all over the country. The main publications have a national readership.
The relaxing of martial law today makes no provision for men like Krzysztof Wyszkowski or any of the other trade unionists in hiding, and Solidarity remains banned. This is how Solidarity's underground structure is organized.
At the top is the General Coordinating Committee, 5 of Poland's most wanted men. Zbigniew Bujak from Warsaw, Bogdan Lis from Gdansk, Władysław Hodak from Krakow, Piotr Bednorz from Wrocław until he was caught last month, and Eugeniusz Szumiejko from Lower Silesia.
This central group controls 3 regional committees of 4 men in Warsaw, 4 men in Gdansk, and 4 men in Wrocław. But the real underground strength of the movement lies in the big industrial plants. This is the rank-and-file support.
The Ursus tractor factory in Warsaw, the Lenin shipyard in Gdansk, where Solidarity began, the coal mines in Silesia, and the giant Lenin steelworks at Nowa Huta next to Krakow.
We visited Krakow and the new industrial town of Nowa Huta nearby to gauge the underground's grassroots support after a year of martial law. Krakow is important because of the influence of one man who lived there, Cardinal Wojtyła. Today, as Pope John Paul, he exerts considerable influence on Solidarity from Rome. The town is also a focus of Catholic dissident intellectuals in Poland. Leszek Maleszka is one of Krakow's dissidents. Until recently, he was interned as a Solidarity advisor. Now, after his release, he once again identifies with the underground.
Would Solidarity be organised on a clandestine level in the town of Krakow?
Tak.
Yes.
Does he know how that is done?
A czy mógłby pan powiedzieć, w jaki sposób to się dokonuje?
In practice, resistance cells grow in two ways, where underground publications are received and read, and where solidarity dues are collected and used according to the priorities decided by the underground.
Które związek uznaje w tej chwili za priorytetowe.
The union dues for Solidarity's Krakow regional underground come largely from Nowa Huta. The communists built Nowa Huta in the 50s as a new socialist town to counteract the influence of Krakow's intellectuals. Massive blocks of flats were set round the largest steel plant in Eastern Europe, the Lenin Steelworks. But the communist plan misfired when Solidarity appeared in 1980. A permanent opposition was forged there between the workers of the Lenin factory and the intellectuals of Krakow. 36,000 work at the factory, but conditions there have deteriorated so much under martial law that the majority are still in opposition to General Jaruzelski. We talked to 3 Solidarity organisers at the plant. Their faces had to remain hidden.
Is there still support for Solidarity in Nowa Huta, even though it's now illegal?
It's difficult to put it in percentage terms, but I think that at least 80% of people still support Solidarity.
Now that Solidarity is illegal, how is it organised within the factory?
We had to go underground. Open activity is impossible. For that, you wouldn't just be sacked, you'd be interned.
Inside the steelworks, Solidarity is organised into cells, each of 5 men. Each cell is responsible for distributing underground leaflets and newspapers. Solidarity might be banned, but union subscriptions are still collected.
Do the authorities know about union dues being paid to Solidarity, and do they try and prevent it?
Oh, yes. They know. They had a factory collection for flood victims. We organised a rival collection from Solidarity. They had their collection, and we had ours. As for the union dues, they've known for ages. What they'd really like to find out is who collects the money, but they just don't know who to arrest.
What happens if you're caught wearing Solidarity badge in the street?
They're only worn by those who have the courage. Anyone who doesn't like the badge, that's usually a security agent, can challenge them. That means a court appearance and a 15,000 zloty fine, 6 weeks' wages just for wearing a Solidarity badge.
It isn't just court appearances. If you're caught in the street wearing a Solidarity badge, you'll be dragged off to the police station and beaten up. Only after that do you get taken to court. The majority of Solidarity members spotted in the street are beaten up, beaten with truncheons or bare fists, or kicked.
During the last year, workers from the Nowa Huta plant have had running battles with these men, the Zomo riot police. For a year now, the authorities have stated publicly that they'll use force to break the activities of Solidarity. We secretly filmed Zomo's training camp outside Krakow. Their main function in the region is to keep order in Nowa Huta. During recent clashes between workers and the Zomos, a young electrician was shot dead.
Now that Solidarity is no longer legal, do they have to put up with unsafe working conditions and bad working conditions?
Yes, of course. Working conditions weren't exactly good in the first place. Management has never been very concerned about safety. But now the situation is tragic. No safety shoes, shortage of overalls, elementary safety precautions just aren't taken.
Over the shortage of safety boots, we organised a barefoot protest in the steelworks, a barefoot solidarity march. We're all known to party members. At the party meetings, they're obliged to name names. A list is kept. It's updated regularly whenever Solidarity calls for a protest. Someone in the party is assigned to spy on everyone on the list. We must be very careful.
How many members of the workforce belong to the Communist Party?
The further away from the factory floor you get, the more party members there are. Among shop floor workers, no more than 1 in 50 is a party card. In the management and technical grades, 4 out of 5 are in the party.
Isn't it extraordinary that the Communist Party in Poland is now the party of the managers and bosses rather than the party of the workers?
Yes, it is extraordinary that the Polish party should see itself as the leading force in the nation. There are so few workers in it.
Now that martial law is to be phased out, General Jaruzelski's plan is to replace Solidarity with new trade unions, government-controlled and without rights. In Nova Huta, only 200 have joined from a workforce of 36,000.
How many people have joined the new official government trade unions which are meant to replace Solidarity?
I think, at the moment, there's little point in discussing the government unions. They're nothing but a joke. They haven't caught on. Their posters are torn down. Solidarity never begged for members. No one had to be asked to join.
In the streets of Nova Huta and in other Polish towns, an old sign has begun to reappear on the walls. It's the emblem of Fighting Poland, the wartime resistance movement against the Nazis. Today, the same sign is directed against General Jaruzelski. It also appears in the form of giant crosses of flowers outside some of Poland's main churches. Initially, the police began taking away the flowers, but they stopped because they always reappeared each night. It's this support for Solidarity by elements of the Catholic Church that has most worried General Jaruzelski. As the only independent body in Poland, the Church has actively supported Solidarity. It's believed that many of the top men in the underground are being hidden in convents and monasteries. And in Nova Huta, tough young priests back opposition to military rule. In St. Maximilian's Church in Nova Huta, there's even an altar to Solidarity and its interned leaders. The parish priest has been interrogated 5 times by the security police, and he's been warned by the Archbishop of Krakow to take it down. But Father Jansarz is unrepentant.
Do the authorities know you have an altar in this church dedicated to Solidarity?
It's their business to know. I think they know. I'm sure they know. It was the people who wanted that altar. They built it. It became a source of great strength. People came together looking for help, exchanging information about who needed help, who had been arrested, who had been sacked, who needed work. Someone would say, there's jobs going at my factory. And in this fashion, not from above, not by official notice, but through human solidarity, an atmosphere was created. And to this day, every Thursday, 500 to 700 people come from Krakow and outside Krakow to spend 3 hours in thought and prayer. It's the solidarity of the spirit.
In other churches in neighboring Krakow, the link between the Catholic Church and Solidarity is quite open. Food is distributed to the families of people sacked from their work for being Solidarity supporters. In Poland, you can lose your job for political reasons, but since unemployment doesn't officially exist under communism, there can be no unemployment benefit. With 1,000 Solidarity families thrown out of work like this in the Krakow region, there's very real hardship.
There are members of Solidarity here, families of Solidarity receiving aid. Why are they having to get this?
What are the reasons? The result of protest actions, people sentenced for union activities, people released from internment or prison. These are the main kinds of people we have to help. People unjustly accused of things.
Nevertheless, do they still remain supporters of Solidarity?
We don't discuss these things on church premises, but I'm sure the answer is yes.
The people who lost their jobs, the supporters of Solidarity, will they ever find work again in this town?
There are those who know they will never get another job. I don't know if I should say this, but there is a blacklist.
If a Solidarity supporter who was on the run came to this church, what would the church do?
It's not our business what political party or trade union people belong to. We help anyone who needs help.
pomagamy faktycznie wszystkim, kto jest potrzebujący.
This Solidarity man was a driver until he was dismissed. To help his family of 5, he gets free clothes and shoes from the same church in Krakow.
Could he tell us why he lost his job?
Because I took part in the strike.
How did this strike take place?
It was in the mining academy. I'm a driver there. I was a driver there. I took part in the strike, and I was sacked because I was supposed to have given the signal to start it by sounding my hooter.
Dać sygnał do rozpoczęcia strajku z klaksonem sygnału.
Were you a supporter of Solidarity before martial law?
Tak.
Yes.
And are you still a supporter of Solidarity?
Czy nadal pan popiera Solidarność?
Tak.
Yes.
Even though it's cost you your job?
Nawet mimo tego, że kosztowało to pana utratę pracy.
Oczywiście.
Yes, of course.
So support for Solidarity among young priests is undiminished. But the Catholic hierarchy here in Krakow Cathedral and Archbishop Glemp in Warsaw are worried about being drawn into politics. In order to preserve unity in Poland and protect their own position, the official church has decided to abandon underground Solidarity. Collaboration between the church hierarchy and the military is what has helped General Jaruzelski ease martial law in the Polish parliament today. If the radical young priests at the grassroots will stop helping the underground, Solidarity can be isolated and martial law relaxed. This understanding between Archbishop Glemp and General Jaruzelski has already come in for fierce criticism by the young priests. The arrangement involves 2 of the world's major political forces, the Vatican and the Kremlin.
In return for withdrawing support for Solidarity in Poland, the Vatican will get more freedom for Catholics in Czechoslovakia, Lithuania and the Ukraine, all communist countries. There are signs that the Kremlin may go along with this. The other part of the arrangement would allow the Pope to visit Poland next year. This has been agreed too. The Catholic Church is to be encouraged to set up Catholic trade unions, but these will be tightly controlled by the government and have none of the freedoms of Solidarity.
Because of his great following in Poland, Lech Wałęsa may be asked to head these controlled unions. This would give Wałęsa a role and might tempt people to abandon Solidarity. The leaders of the underground are alarmed and skeptical about these developments. Last week they warned Wałęsa against involvement in any new church trade unions. We asked Father Jan Sash, the parish priest from Nowa Huta, for his reaction to the new plan.
Does the father think it would be a bad thing if the church pulled away from Solidarity?
Kilkakrotnie tu wspominałem.
As I've said many times,
To moi bracia,
these are my brothers,
parafianie,
the people of my parish,
rodzice moich,
the parents of the children I
którzy
teach,
tym żyją.
and I'm supposed to abandon
Ja
them.
nagle ich opuszczę.
It's as if the captain of the ship
Tak jak
was first into the lifeboat and left the others to
pierwszy rzucił
drown.
się do łodzi ratunkowej, a wy so się topcie.
Next, we asked another man who has contacts with underground Solidarity, dissident Leszek Maleszka from Krakow.
How important is the Catholic Church to the support of Solidarity?
Kościół przestrzega przed wysoką
The
ceną,
church
jaką
warns
płaci
about
za
the
tą
price
działalność
that
i to
people
jest
may
grób
have to
przed
pay for being in the
wiadomo,
underground,
że taką cenę się płaci.
and people know what the church thinks. But I don't believe that the authority of the church extends so far that it can persuade people to stop fighting for the values of August 1980, for the values of Solidarity. These are precious values, and people will defend them whatever the price.
Cenę są oni gotowi dzisiaj płacić.
Finally, we asked the Solidarity organizers from Nowa Huta what they thought of today's plan to lift martial law.
It depends on the government, on what they do on the 13th of December, whether they lift martial law and what other measures they introduce. They may just suspend martial law. It's being said that what Jaruzelski plans to do is just suspend it and then give himself special powers. Suspension of martial law is meaningless. It gives us nothing. Government repression will carry on. Prices will go on rising. The situation will become unbearable. People will have to do something.
The social grievances which gave birth to Solidarity 2 years ago haven't gone away. Most people believe that lifting martial law now won't stop harassment by the police, nor will it change general living conditions in the country. After a year of martial law, people have even less money and they queue for longer. Maria Czeka Osterda is a housewife from Krakow.
What were the queues for today in Krakow?
Well, here in my neighborhood, they were queuing for shoes, mostly because I have several shops with shoes around the corner, and then for eggs, which are given here in the neighborhood only twice a week.
How long are people prepared to queue for?
Also depends on what. Sometimes they queue all the night if they are in need of having something.
Poland today lives by the ration card. Almost everything is rationed.
And how much soap do you get?
Oh, that is rather comical. We got one piece of soap, small piece, for 2 months.
But that doesn't last, surely.
No, of course not. So we have to buy on some kind of private shops, which
is double the price. Is double the price.
About, oh, even more, because a private soap costs about 80 zlotys and
that's $1.
State shop, state soap costs about 10 zlotys. So it makes a difference.
How many cigarettes can you get on the ration a month?
12 packets.
That won't get you far, will it?
No, no. Well, thanks God, I'm not smoking, but my husband needs 1 packet daily.
So he should have 30 packets, but he can only get 12.
Yes.
Because there's nothing in the shops, people in Warsaw shop here at this huge second-hand market. People sell everything they own in order to buy new goods. Used shirts, dresses, underwear, shoes, toys, they're all sold here. Not only is Poland short of food and consumer goods, under martial law it's been short on freedom too. Most of the phone calls can be listened to in the main cities.
Are phone calls listened to in this country?
Yes, I'll show you.
Rozmowa kontrolowana.
What does that mean?
That the conversation is taped.
So there's actually a little message saying they're taping this conversation.
That's right.
Today's moves in the Warsaw Parliament make no provision for the 3,600 held in prison under martial law. These are all Solidarity supporters. The authorities are also preparing a major political trial of this group of dissidents. Called CORE, the Workers' Defence Committee, they acted as advisors to Solidarity. Now the government has charged 6 of them with plotting to overthrow the state by force. Until last month, they were held with other Solidarity supporters in Białolenka prison outside Warsaw. We obtained these pictures of some of them taken inside the jail. No one doubts that if the government proceeds with this show trial, the defendants will be found guilty. One of the core dissidents is Jan Josef Lipski. He was in London in the summer receiving medical treatment when the charges were brought. Although Lipski believes the charges were false, he was determined to return to Poland and stand trial with the other dissidents. He's now in prison. Before he left, we asked him what he thought would happen to him.
What's facing us? Under the law they've invoked, the lightest penalty is 5 years in prison. The heaviest is the death sentence, but we don't expect that. Nevertheless, there's plenty of room in between, and the authorities will decide what punishment to impose. I know that in court we'll all stand together. If I were afraid that any one of us would break down, then I might be worried about losing my nerve. But I'm absolutely certain of my friends. They have such moral qualities and such quality of character. It may seem funny, but it will be a pleasure to be in the dock alongside them.
General Jaruzelski's problem after today is that a great number of Poles are like Jan Josef Lipski. They too are unwilling to give up the fight for Solidarity.